Yeah, so when I wrote For What It's Worth with a couple of my good buddies, Rocky Block, Jacob Durrett, and Grayland James. Grayland and Breland, don't get that confused. But they came with the concept, and I had gone through a breakup recently, and I felt like it was a good time for me to have a song that had some real meat on the bones and kind of showcase myself a little bit more as a vocalist than just like somebody that has fun. And after the song came out, I was like, man, like, I was getting a lot of messages from girls who were like, man, I wish that my ex would say this to me. And I was listening to all the different young women in country music, and I feel like you have some of the best relationship breakup music in the genre for sure. And also like you cross the bridge of like country and contemporary pop in a really dope way, and I felt like this song could really benefit from having your perspective and your voice on it, and my hunch was right. You sound dope. So
Well, dude, this is one of my favorite songs of yours by far, and I feel like we are kind of similar in that we're just carving our own lanes and doing our own thing.
Right.
But when you were talking about girls reaching out, like, I wish my ex would say this to me, I felt the same way when I heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've, in most of my relationships, been the one that's walking away because I wasn't being put first, I wasn't being treated right. And so immediately when I heard the song, I was like, I am this girl. Like, I see myself in this song. So it was kind of a no-brainer when you reached out about it. I'm so stoked to be on it. I love your voice. I love what you're doing.
I love your voice.
It's a really special song. And I think I'm so glad I got to put my perspective on it too. I think now that it has kind of a back and forth, it's like showing the relationship from both sides, so you kind of hear an answer. And maybe some people out there will feel like that's what I would say back too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I love that we got to do this one together. I
Great work.
For the world. Yeah, let's freaking go. Good work, team. Me and Breland actually met doing an AIBA panel, right?
Yeah.
This was like a year
2021 probably, like end of 21.
I think that's right. And I remember it was such a good day because it's the same day that I wrote You Don't Deserve a Country Song.
Oh, let's go.
Which was just like the perfect way to start that day.
Yeah.
And then we did the panel and just hit it off. That was so much fun. Brittany Spencer was with us.
Yes. Yeah, I just knew, having seen a couple of the covers that you had posted and some of the music that you were just starting to put out, and you only had a couple songs out at the time, but a lot of people were talking about you, and I was very intrigued. And you carry yourself, I mean, you're young, like really young, and carry yourself with such a poise, but also very charismatic and personable, that I was like, yo, this is somebody that I would kick it with. This is somebody that I would like go get a drink with, but also somebody that I would love to collab with. And so I've been just kind of in the back of my mind thinking, anytime I'm like, who should I get on this next song? I was like, I want to get you on this one, you know?
That means so much, seriously. Like, I feel the same about you. I remember that day we did the panel, we were like standing next to it, we were doing pictures or whatever, and you're just over there like doing runs. You're not even thinking about it, you're just like,
yeah,
I'm like, what?
I'm what's known as a chronic runner. I always am singing something, whatever the last thing I heard was, I've just built on those chords in my head, and I
love it.
Can't really stop. Obviously, you sing your tail off as well, but I think people don't necessarily know how strong a writer you are, because there's, not that they don't know that they like shouldn't know that, but I just mean like, not people don't always know who writes and who doesn't write, and you're a writer, and you have a very strong POV. How'd you come up with your verse? Like, did you dip into like a real situation? Did you try to put yourself into this one? Like, how do you come up with a verse like this?
Yeah, well, when you asked me to do the song, it was a no-brainer. I'm such a fan of the song. And I remember listening to it, and I automatically was just put back in that place. I mean, I've been the one in every one of my relationships to leave. I've never kind of been broken up with. And it's usually because I wasn't being treated right, and I wasn't being put first. So when you asked me to write that verse, I just kind of went back through some of those relationships and how I felt in those moments. And this song is really what I wish an ex would say to me. I think it's kind of what a lot of girls probably wish their ex would come back and say. It's a very like mature take on, you know, just knowing yourself and being able to own up to the mistakes you made. And so I went back in, wrote this verse with one of my favorite writers, Liz Rose. We really hit it off, and we got together, and I just put myself back in that place. And I'm in this scenario in my mind, what would I do if somebody did come back? And in some scenarios, it's just like for the best. You know, a person is meant to be in your life the moment they're in it.
A reason and a season, as a pastor once spoke.
We both have granddads who are pastors, clearly.
We've got 3 grandfathers between us that are pastors. That's 1.5 grandfathers per.
Runs deep.
It runs real deep.
Runs deep.
And you took us to church on this one. I liked your perspective a lot. I'm happy to have you on this song.
Thank you so much.
Should we high five?
Let's do it.